are sorry that we're late. We had a little technical difficulty. Just hang on in there, you guys. We have a less than a minute, 2 minutes to go. While you're waiting, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you follow Texas Coalition for Change. And thank you so much for tuning in. This is Texas Coalition for Change. My name is Candace Cooper, and with me I have.
Good evening.
I'm going to talk to you about a very important topic to us. Why we started the Texas Coalition for Change. Who exactly is the machine? What is it that we do? And so joining us, like I said, is myself and my mom joining here today. However, we are not the only two people that represent Texas Coalition people. But today we're going to have a conversation with you all, not just about how we got started and the why, but we're going to talk about some issues that are concerning to us. And then if you were able to check out the community forum that happened on yesterday, we're also going to have an opportunity to talk about some of our reactions to that. So, Mom, let's start with you. I'm going to do this kind of interview style. Maybe that'll help. So, the Texas Coalition for Change, we started it in December of 2023. Now, I know all of us have different reasons why, in terms of our why. What exactly?
I talk about my why. Can I just kind of introduce the other members?
Oh, yes, you can.
There are 5 members. Elmer Fisher, salute to Elmer. Marlon, hello Marlon, Miss Cooper, and Pam Wade. So it's 5 of us started just having conversations about Manor, the Austin, and the state of Texas. You know, what can we do to work to make things better? And so you did say, Candace, that we started the Texas Coalition for Change back December 20. Had been meeting months before that, you know, and we did not know what we wanted to do. Talked about how it's time for change to come and how we really want to start in Manor, because Manor is a wonderful place to be, great place to stay. We would, lots of times we would go on and look at Manor people and see, you know, some of the things that people were concerned about, and we just started having conversations about that. And then all our city council, mayors in different cities and states as well, and just having those conversations, and everyone came to the table with, you know, different ideas or whatever. And we just so happened to really start this machine oiled during this school board race. So I want to make it very clear that the Texas Coalition for Change have some things that we are really wanting to get changed for the better, and the school board is one of them, but there's lots of other, the infrastructure. I know that my daughter, not you, but Cammie, was riding a couple of months ago and hit a pothole in Shadow Glen and had to replace her whole tire. And you know, a place like Shadow Glen shouldn't have those type of roads. And so we talked about that, the infrastructure. We talked about the new businesses that are coming into Manor. What are they actually doing to support the people in Manor? You know, when we lived in Austin before, a lot of the hotels and the different businesses that would come in, they would always give 10% or 20%, you know, for low social economic families. They would, you know, looking at Samsung that's in Taylor now, someone has advocated and had help with the schools. They're donating with the schools. They fixed a lot of the infrastructure. And to me, we don't see anyone really advocating for those things to happen here in Manor. So those are some Pam Wade's why. It's because I just want things to be better and different, you know. And I've talked to so many people here in Manor that have happened to them. That's so sad, Candace. And you know, even at the Whataburger, someone is pulling you over, telling you a story about this happened to me or that happened. So I've always been that person that really cares about people.
Sure.
So that's my why.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things that, again, being really born and raised in Austin, one of the things that I would hear about is, you know, there's always a lot of issues in Manor, but there never was like a grassroots organization to really bring everybody together to discuss and talk about those issues. So for me, the Texas Coalition for Change is that group. And we're not all of the same skill set. Everyone in the organization has completely different skills. We need more voices, of course. We're just now launching publicly. Again, like my mom said, we've been organizing behind closed doors for a while. We were established in December of 2023, but we need more voices so that we can know what all the issues are. And so for me, my why, of course, started with the school district and the children. And why it's so important is because, of course, I have a daughter that graduated from Manor New Tech, and she's now a sophomore in college. But she attended Manor schools from kindergarten. She went from Pioneer Crossing to, we actually took her out of Manor schools in the 6th grade to go to private school. And then 7th and 8th grade, she returned to Manor New Tech Middle, and then she continued, of course, until she graduated. And we had I'm just going to tell you, I thought we were lucky, right? We had, I think her school experience was absolutely amazing. And it really was true because of the dedication of the teachers that she had, the principals, the administrators that she had, all the way down to the ladies and gentlemen in the cafeteria, the coaches. We had an amazing experience with my daughter. But something happened during the pandemic, and I started really paying attention to Manor people, and I realized not everybody had that same experience. And so I went from being a parent to then being an employee for the district, and my experience as an employee then really truly opened my eyes. And so my why became the children, and not just my child, but because my husband and I have the track club, it was a lot of our children, probably 90% of our kids that are in the track program has either attends Manor or have attended Manor at some point in time. And so it was important for me, and we look at our track club as our track family, we call it. And so it was important for me to also be able to advocate not for just my kid, but for all the kids. And then I also saw, just a lot of the news that was happening, being the chief communications officer and seeing how a lot of our kids were subjected to violence and to a lot of the social emotional issues that were happening in the schools. And so I honestly, that was my passion. It became my fire, and my why became just wanting to do better for our children. So I'm glad that as a group, we've decided to start at the school. I know we talked about infrastructure in the city. I know that there's a lot of there's communities that have not been annexed into the city of Manor. And I know that that's an issue that we definitely want to tackle. There's a lot of growth and development happening into the community. And as you said, what is it that the community is getting out of all of these entities? Folks have been wanting HEB to come. HEB is on its way. I see that they're breaking ground. Home Depot is coming. Chili's. We have all these things coming. But the idea is when they get here, then how is the community going to also benefit?
So I would think, Candace, that with HEB coming here, that there would be some type of movement to make sure that a certain percentage that HEB says, I'm going to hire a certain percentage of Manor teenagers and residents.
Yeah, residents. Right, absolutely.
I think that, again, instead of bringing people outside, you have people that are on the inside that need jobs. You have people that, that may not have transportation to get to North Austin or Round Rock or Kyle or what have you. And so HEB should be one of those businesses that steps up to the plate and say, yeah, we're going to hire 20% of Manor residents, 10% being kids or what have you. I do know of some people that have worked for HEB and they are doing very well now. HEB has a really good training program. And I've known people that have worked for HEB for many, many years and have said that it was a place that they worked, made very good money, and were able to retire. So why can't some of our residents be invited to work at HEB? And I'm not talking about the basket retrievers or what have you. I am talking about people from the management level on down to, the folks that are pushing in the baskets or what have you. So I am saying that every business that comes into Manor, there should be some type of something. Incentives that are that invite the Manor people to be a part of those businesses. And then the other thing is that, they have, I think that every business that comes in, that they definitely have this, that they should want to give back to the community. I'm going to just talk about Lakeisha Small. Met Lakeisha, 3 years ago?
It was.
So when I first met Lakeisha, she and I were talking on the phone, and it was around the beginning of school, and she herself had gone out and bought shoes and clothes for kids. And I said, well, who are these kids? She said, well, it's just kids that I know about that need. And so we have those leaders in Manor that, buy clothes, shoes for kids. I mean, she was just telling me just a while ago that she was giving away 3 bags of clothes to women that are in need of clothes. So I think that we're doing so I'm not talking about the residents. I think that the residents do a very good job. When you look at Manor people, someone will say, I need baby food, I need Pampers. Hey, I got them, what's your address? DM me your address or whatever. So I see that all the time, but I am talking about that the businesses that are coming in, they should care enough about Manor and the community to give back.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I know that the HEB and Mueller does, and I know our organization has benefited from it, is finding a space to meet.
Yes.
A meeting space. They offer it at a low cost, absolutely almost nothing. And then you can also, which is great because it's in a grocery store, so if you're going to buy the food, you can buy the food and bring it right on upstairs. But, one of the things, and speaking of Lakeisha, one of the things that we're doing in the month of October is we're providing a lot of opportunities for you guys to meet the candidates that we have endorsed for Manor ISD. And one of the issues that we continuously ran into was meeting space. The only space really here that holds a lot of people to meet at is typically the schools. But in order to rent out one of the schools, it takes an arm and a leg and an act of God just to be able to rent out the facility. which of course has been one of the concerns that I've had, but just being able to get someone on the phone, sending out the emails, and here, let me be clear. I'm not trying to talk about the staff in a demeaning way, but what I am saying is that the process for renting the facilities has not worked well and hadn't been community friendly.
Well, you know that for 16 years I worked for Austin Independent School District, and for 6 of those years I worked for Blackshear Elementary, and there were so many community groups that wanted to practice their kids with basketball, wanted to use the field for baseball. Some of the other community people wanted to come in and have meetings. And Blackshear was right dead in the middle of the community. And I, lived, 4 blocks from Blackshear. And I would go and open the door and close the door. And, we would have like some form to say, this is your responsibility, clean the school, empty the trash, blah, blah, blah. Even with the churches that were next door, I think at one time, one of the churches, their air conditioning had gone off or something, had gone out, and they came over and had a business meeting at Blackshear. So, we always, the principal there and the superintendent said, if we're in the community, we should be feeding the community with this building, and we did not have one community issue.
That's right.
Everyone did what they were supposed to do. So I didn't mind opening up the school or closing the school.
Absolutely, and cleaning up. I remember those days, and I remember we would have dinner and all sorts of things, and the moms and the community would get together and they would take care of the school. They would take care of the school the same way in which you would take care of your home, and that's what I think we've lost. Manor is such a small community,
yes,
but we've lost that small community feel.
Yes,
I think that So again, the issue has been just being able to find a space. You talked about infrastructure in terms of our roads and also in terms of just the infrastructure as far as making sure that there are incentives when businesses are coming into the community. But, in addition to that, we also have, and I talked about facilities, but the village aspect, and what I mean by that is us being able to work together.
Right.
There's a lot of division.
Yes, it is.
I see that there's division between city council, and there's division between school district. There's the division between old Manor versus new Manor. There's division between New Tech versus senior high. I mean, we are a small community, and for it to be so much division, I don't understand that. So I wish that, that's one of the things that also I'm hoping that we can work through. And I know that, people are going to disagree.
Absolutely.
Folks are going to disagree, but that does not mean that you have to not respect each other and reach and accommodate our goals. But I don't see that togetherness.
So it's okay to agree to disagree, but no, never speaking again. I was so shocked and hurt the first time that I.
So what happened? What was that experience like?
It was the board. They were talking about one another. You had Sam Sam Samparipa that was on the board then, and it wasn't one of my first meetings, but I had not been attending the board meetings, and I went to support you because something that was you had going on in communications or something, and that really did hurt me to hear Sam Samparipa talking about his fellow school board trustees, and also, President Nelson Linder, that's the president of the local NAACP, when he saw Nelson coming up, he hollered, Chihuahua. And one of the ladies that...
Well, I don't know if he hollered it. I think it was more of a hot mic. He might not have even known that his mic was on.
Probably didn't know that his mic was still on or what have you. But when he said that it dropped my heart, because we all know that President Nelson Linder, he's going to show up. He's very committed and very disciplined. And even when I served as the NAACP, I never thought that I could keep up with him because he was always doing up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and 10, 12 o'clock at night, he's
Sure.
still going or whatever. And so it really hurt my heart for Sam Samparipa to disrespect someone at that level. And so a school board trustee member acting like that.
I think you're talking about the board meeting that occurred in November. November of 2022, I want to say, and that was actually the time, I remember that because the room was full of children. We were recognizing students, we were also recognizing staff during that time. During
Yes.
that time, I served as chief communication officer, and I was appalled.
Yes.
That was actually the day that we were going to celebrate Thanksgiving with the staff, and so there was actually, the community didn't know, the room full of people, but in the back of the room, in one of the conference rooms, there was actually food waiting for staff. So that was a special board meeting because that was the board meeting where we were gonna, celebrate Thanksgiving with the team that works there at the district. And, but it was not just community members that were disrespected that day. He also disrespected several of the trustees.
Absolutely, with the way that he, again, it's okay to disagree, but you have that room in the back that you go
Right.
and you have those conversations.
Sure.
But not out in the community.
Sure.
And then here he is running again for school board trustee after he carried on the way that he did, so disrespectful.
That's a good transition to go into the community forum, which, by the way, shout out to Chamber of Commerce for putting also the candidates that are running for city mayor and for city council. It is important for can be informed, on who it is that's running, and and be informed as a voter, so that you know that you're voting for individuals that really align with your morals, your values, and what it is that you want. And so let's talk about that. As a political action committee, one of our tasks is to endorse candidates that are running for office.
Now, endorsing candidates, Candace, does not mean that we're running their campaign.
Oh, yes, thank you. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. That is an important issue because we've already heard rumors that the Texas Coalition for Change, that the machine is running and managing people's campaigns, and that is 100% not the truth. So I want to be clear on that. There are 3 campaigns that we're supporting.
Right. The 3 that we're you are the campaign manager.
Correct.
Because you and the candidate decided that you would be the best person to be the campaign manager.
Yes.
So that has nothing. So
That is aside and separate.
We wear a million hats.
That's
and
right.
That's just one of the million hats that you wear.
Yeah.
So with this,
In selfish plug for Candace Cooper Consulting, I actually have a consulting company, and so part of that is campaigning. So selfish plug, okay. But I am the campaign manager for Patrick Patterson. That's one of the hats. I am not here today to speak on behalf of Patrick Patterson or their campaign. That is totally separate. I'm also not here to talk about any of the other 4 businesses that I have because I am a serial entrepreneur. So I just want to be clear on that. So, but going back, sorry, I had to say that because we got to clear up some things. All right, so.
my.
Yes.
So, again, when the Texas Coalition, my allergies are killing me and my eye has just been running all day. But when the Texas Coalition for Change first started these conversations, we talked about supporting candidates. What would that look like? That would look like whatever the candidate needed.
Correct.
And so not for me to say, Patrick, you're running and you need this, that, and the other. We may say from experience, you may want to try this or,
Right.
This is something that you may need. All 3 of the campaign, the candidates that we're supporting, none of them have ever ran for office before, and
Correct.
they're not politicians. And I want to talk
Correct.
about that too, but we're supporting Patrick Patterson for place 5,
That's correct.
Dr. Caitlin Lowry for place 6,
That's correct.
and Stacey Howard for place 7.
Woo! Oh, sorry. Wrong. Sorry. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I have sound effects.
These candidates' background,
We did.
we vetted them
Well, let's vetting Patrick Patterson.
half ago. After this election, in which I was the campaign manager for Dr. Mary Thomas. Dr. Mary Thomas ran against Sam Samparipa,
Yes.
and did win. And
Yes.
she's
And
on
there
the
was
board
another
now.
young lady also who we thought was absolutely
Amazing.
incredible. I hate that those two women were, running on the same ticket.
Correct, because she, and I cannot remember her name.
Yes, yes.
But
But we
even
even
reached out to her.
Yes, we
this
even
time around to see
through other
if she
people to
would
see
be
if she would
interested,
do it.
because we were so amazed by her
Right.
story and by her dedication.
Right.
And,
And
also,
being a former educator.
absolutely.
Yeah, that was
And so
important.
I want to talk about that in just a minute too. But we've been knowing Patrick Patterson for a long, long time.
You have.
I've been knowing him for a long
Yeah,
time.
that's
I've
right.
seen him in action at the school board. I've seen him go down and advocate for kids. I've seen him, riding the bus because they didn't have bus monitors to go to football games. I've seen Patrick Patterson hugging kids that are crying, and he's, got tears in his eyes too. So I've seen the Patrick Patterson, Cammie went
Yes.
to school at LBJ, graduated from LBJ. So I've been knowing Patrick Patterson for a long time, a person that's has a heart of gold. And also I supported his school when I was a parent coordinator for AISD. And just some of the things that he and Audra Morgan, the parent support specialist, did over at LBJ was just like, wow,
Yeah.
even walking down the halls or what have you. Some of the other high schools, the kids were crazy and all this and that. They knew not to act like that. And I even remember when Bishop Spivey was the hall monitor at LBJ, and he would just get up out of his chair and just look, and they knew to get to class and be quiet. So he always made sure to hire top-notch people, kids, and people that would go above and beyond. So I've been knowing Patrick Patterson. And when someone told me that he had moved out here, I said, are you serious? And then, lo and behold, not even a month later, I see him walking this big, gigantic dog.
Oh my goodness, that
You know.
dog scares me.
And
Yes.
so I rolled down my window and I said, I heard you lived out here in Maynard. You moved to Maynard. He said, yeah,
Yes.
we here, my wife and I, we moved here. And I said, I need to talk to you. And he looked at me and I said, I need to talk to you about something.
Right.
And so he said, okay. And I said, I'm not going to talk in front of that dog. Because even though I'm in my car with the window down, I'm still afraid. So anyway, it took me a while, but I did call him and I said, Patrick, I really wish you would consider running for school board. And he said, I'm not a politician. I love kids. If you need me to support kids, if you need me to come out and, open up my checkbook or whatever, I'm here for that. And I
Right.
said, well, okay, just consider it. And so we talked the scores here and the leadership. And so we kind of talked, and I think I called him back another time or two and hadn't talked to him. And then I called him and I said, now is the time.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
want you to run.
Yeah.
And he said, well, who's we? So I gave him the names of the people that had started the Texas Coalition for Change. And he said, I'll do it.
Yep. I remember that.
And
I
so he
remember
said, you
that.
don't just talk people into doing anything. So Lakeisha had never met him.
No, I had never met. I knew of him through you and through tons of people in the community. I knew of him, but I had never personally met him. And so then when you brought his name to me, I started all the research.
Yes.
I'm like, whoa, this guy's incredible.
And Elmer knew him.
Elmer knew of him.
Because Elmer graduated from LBJ.
Sure, he knew of him as well.
Yes, and so Marlon said, all of my superintendent communication, and so he had heard of him as well. So I said, we want someone that loves children, number one,
Right.
and someone that will advocate for our kids,
Right.
and someone that is not going to fall prey to anyone that's going to be disrespectful. I mean, he's sometimes he tells me, no, we're not doing that. So he, even though he's not a principal, he's always a principal, right? So after we vetted him, looked into his background, saw all of his accomplishments and everything, everyone said, okay, call him. And I called him again. He said, okay, I'll do it. And so, we had another meeting and we were yay, this and that. Now, Dr. Caitlin Lowry and Stacey Howard, you guys knew
No, so what happened was, okay, so this is lit, and we're gonna get to it, you guys. We want to get to it. I see more people are joining. Y'all, thank you for tuning other. Let me tell y'all, honestly, we had a list of about 20
You
people.
were gonna run it.
I was even gonna run. That's where I was getting at. We had a list of about 20 people. I was number 20, like 6. But we had a list of about 20 people, and we narrowed that list down to probably a top 5. And when it became like July, I think we were starting to see some other names that were coming up, and people were starting. There were 2 individuals that had actually put their name in the hat, and then we saw Stacy's name pop up, and we started to vet those individuals. So the moment that they went down and they started to apply, we began the vetting process. Now let me tell y'all what the vetting process is. This is not just us calling and saying, who is this person? We're doing paid checks, okay? We're doing criminal we want to know who these folks are. I'm checking the sex offenders register. Miss Lakeisha is for a year. This was we wanted to make sure. Of course, we had people that love kids, but we were really looking for people that had proven success.
So Candace, I think what's most important about that is that some of the other candidates are running. Oh, I have governance experience. I have budget experience. I have this or that. All of those things can be taught. And so what we were looking at is not someone that necessarily has all this governance experience, not someone that has wukus or political experience and have been in this political group, that political group, or whatever. We wanted someone that had the love of children.
Absolutely.
Someone that's compassionate, kind, honest, respectful. Someone that talks and walks with integrity.
Sure.
Those are the things. And also, like you said, you and Lakeisha, you guys are behind the machine. You guys are the ones that kind of grease the research, and you guys are connected to all these systems and all this and that and whatever.
Sure.
Marlon is the one that knows about the policies and the laws, and Lakeisha does too. She's a policy person.
We all bring that expertise.
Yeah.
And there have been other people calling and saying, hey, I can do this. We have a producer that came on and said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and help you guys to produce some videos.
Yes.
We have all sorts of people, and it's literally becoming when we say a grassroots movement.
Yes.
So I'm looking at you out here that are watching this, whether you're watching live or whether you'll wait till we get off and watch it. We need you. The machine.
We're the founders. Only. We're the founders.
We founded it.
But
this organization belongs to the
Other
community.
folks that have stepped up to the plate and say, hey, I want to be a part of the machine.
Right.
I want to be a part of the pack.
Right.
And when you look at other groups in Round Rock, Georgetown, Leander, it's popping up all the time.
All of them have PACs.
They have political action committees.
Yeah.
And these are people that are just advocating for what's best
That's all
for
they
the
do.
community.
That's correct.
And so, again, getting back to the candidates that we vetted and the ones that we're supporting.
Sure.
I didn't know Dr. Caitlin Lauer, but
I
after you and
did.
Lakeisha brought her information to the table,
Sure.
you said, I'm not going to run.
Yes. So I put my name in the hat, and then I said, well, let me reach out to Stacey Howard, and I want to have a conversation. And Stacey will tell you guys this. I worked with her sister Jennifer when I worked at Manor. So I contacted Stacey, and Stacey was probably like, who is this weirdo contacting me? So I ended up contacting Jennifer, and Stacey and I had a conversation. And you guys know how when you talk to people and you like this lady is real.
Yes.
I love the fact that she was like, 3rd, 4th generation Manor graduate. I just love the fact that she was just genuine.
Yes.
And I said to her, Stacey, you know what? I was going to run, but I'm taking my name out the hat, and I'm going to support you. I'm going to put all my support behind you. And it was just we had a great conversation, and I brought her into the PAC to ask the PAC, now that was me speaking as an individual. But then I brought her into the PAC, and then the PAC decided that we would also endorse her as well. And then with Kate, and so then I moved my name into another space. Just to hold it there, didn't know whether or not I was going to run. And you guys, I was really considering running. But I wanted to make sure that we had the right people at the right time. And for us, the right people at the right time were educators. And I'm going to tell you why. My sister is an educator. She's been one. But when I had the opportunity to work in Manor, and I want everybody to hear this, Manor ISD has educated of the best administrators, some of the best staff people, you bus drivers, to the cafeteria workers, to you name it, throughout that.
So my aunt graduated from Houston-Tillotson back in 1953, right? And so when she graduated from Houston-Tillotson, she graduated and got her her Bachelor of Education, right? And she applied for every job that she could. Bastrop, Smithfield, Lockhart, maybe Manor. But in all these areas in Austin from 1953 to 1965, and could not get a job in the state of Texas. And she was told, we have our quota, and she just said, you know what, I'm going to stay working here at St. David's Hospital until I get a job teaching. That's what her love was. English. And she was one of those people, if you mispronounce a word, she made you feel like, oh my God. So you had to talk, very proper. So we called her Mama Evelyn. And Mama Evelyn had a cousin that lived in Anchorage, Alaska.
Right.
And we called her Aunt Bert. Both of them are gone to paradise now. And Aunt Bert and her husband were stationed in Anchorage, Alaska. And she came one summer and said, you're going to go back with me to Anchorage. And my aunt said, oh no, I have to take care of my family. I'm going to get a job here. And she said, no, you're not. You're not going to get a job here in the state of Texas. Come to Anchorage. You're going to get a job. You'll be paid more money. So, that's this little lady that, lived in Bastrop and only probably came to Austin or somewhere like that. Didn't know very much about, maybe have gone to Houston or Dallas. But anyway, so Aunt Bert talked her into moving to Anchorage, Alaska, which she did. 1965, August of 1965, she left Bastrop, Texas, moved to Anchorage, Alaska. She got a job subbing that same year, starting in September.
Sure.
Do you hear
As a
this?
substitute teacher. So you're saying that someone with a bachelor's degree had to leave Texas and go all the way to Anchorage,
Anchorage,
Alaska, to get a job as a substitute
teacher.
Yeah.
So the lady that she was subbing for,
Sure.
something happened to her, and they asked her to come on full time in January of '66. So it took her 1 month to get a job subbing, 6 months to get a job teaching. She went on to get her master's, and then she did study for a doctoral degree. She just didn't do her dissertation. But she said to me, education
Right.
will expose you to whatever you want to do in life. So we all moved to Anchorage, Alaska, and stayed there. She taught there for over 30 years, Candace.
Yeah.
She was proud.
Sure.
A person of integrity. Never wore a pair of pants, even during recess. She would wear her boots, her snow boots, and her, kind of like quilted dress or whatever.
Right.
So she thought that education was the place that you go and, you're a person of integrity, you do right by children, you have to talk a certain way, you got to walk a certain way. And so I always felt that way, that in education, that you don't act a fool. You don't act a fool. And what I saw at that school board meeting,
Yeah.
I left there in tears.
Yeah.
I left.
Well, I physically got up out of my chair and went into the bathroom
But there's a video
afterwards and literally cried.
Yes.
Because, the thing about it is when people in a leadership role, when you're an elected official and you get up and you behave in that type of manner, it trickles down. And what it does is it dilutes all of the work. It diminishes all the work that all of those folks that I just talked about.
Yes.
It's as if they don't exist. And that's why it was important for us to endorse people for office.
Yes.
That has been in the trenches in education. They understand the needs of the children, but they're also there to advocate on behalf of the children. So these folks, like you said, none of them, they're not politicians. They do not know how to go out and run these elaborate campaigns,
No.
okay? They don't know anything about block walking and sending mass text messages out. They don't know the game. That's not how they operate. These people, like you said, are kind, and most teachers are. When you talk about teachers like real teachers are in the classroom purchasing their own supplies out of their own pocket.
I saw something last night. I saw Patrick Patterson get up out of his chair.
Right.
Every time he had his comments, right?
Sure.
And that reminded me of the Mama Evelyn that taught me you have to be this certain person,
Right.
walk and talk and act a certain way. And every time he got up out of his chair, I said, this is someone that is saying that I want to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
You know, now he talks a bit loud with his hand.
He's passionate. I love it.
And you know,
That's
I almost
that
jumped up out of
passion.
my seat last night when
Yeah.
I saw him.
It makes you get excited.
Yeah. And so I want this election time to be an exciting one.
Yeah.
And you know, we said we're not going back. We want change.
Yeah, we want to
I
do
want
something.
Sam Zaparipa back on there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Janie Guerrero. I've heard so many stories about her being a bully. I've heard so many stories about her disrespecting people. And she did the same thing to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And so,
We all have our stories, and the
Yeah.
thing is that, you know, again, we were talking about the community forum that was held on last night.
Yeah.
One of the things that kind of jumped out at me right away is that the candidates that we're endorsing, they did not have a sheet of paper with the questions on them.
no, they didn't.
They did not have notes. If you go back and you look at the footage, I want you guys to go back. I went live during the school board portion of the event. They spoke from their heart. They know it. They know this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so they didn't have to, like you said, Patrick got up. But when you saw Stacy talk, you know, and you saw
She
Dr.
came to the
Lowry,
edge of her chair.
you could see that they were talking with excitement because that's who they are.
But see, they're a little bit younger.
You
And I'm not
you
talking,
can't
I'm
make it
not,
up.
I'm not going to talk about Patrick's age.
Yeah.
But they're a little bit younger than Patrick and myself.
Yeah.
But we were taught that when you are addressing an audience to get up, right? But Stacy and Caitlin, they're young. You know, they're generation whatever.
Right.
And you know, but they got on the edge of their chair.
You could tell the genuine
Yeah.
excitement, and that's how it is
Yeah.
every time you talk to them. It's contagious.
Yes.
You know, and then, you know, Dr. Lowry, she is a, I tell you, and I worked with her when she was a parent, and then I had the opportunity to work with her when she worked at the district. When you talk about, I call her the data queen. When that lady knows data, she knows how to read that data left and right. Stacy and Dr. Lowry have both worked in Manor ISD for over a decade. They are not working there anymore. They are not employed there currently, or they wouldn't be eligible to run for
and
office.
they live in the community.
But they live in the community. These are folks who live in our community. They have children that are still in the district, and they are both educators. And Patrick Patterson has that proven success of being able to, he talked about it last night, turning around schools.
Right.
Having been the only person in Austin ISD's history to serve as a principal at an elementary, at a middle school, and then also at a high school. So you guys, we have 3 amazing candidates. You know, one of my takeaways, and if you guys look at the footage, I talked about you talked about Sam Maripa. Mr. Sam Maripa has served in a trustee capacity for over 14 years.
14.
He is 14 years. He's attempting to return. One of my questions that I ask, and it's a question that anyone would ask, Mr. Samaripa said numerous times that he's not trying to go back, he's trying to go forward. He talked numerous times about all the things that he wants to do. But my question is, you've had 14 years. So what's the success that you've had in 14 years? Why didn't you do those things while you were there for 14 years? And then, you know, I didn't get an opportunity, the event ended, but I would have asked Mr. Matthias, Honorable Dr. Reverend Matthias, the same question. I would have said, Honorable Dr. Reverend Matthias, what is it that you did at RD to where you are no longer over in Austin ISD?
Yes, they did.
We vetted Dr. Matthias. You and I and Lakeisha has had an opportunity to sit down with Dr. Matthias. We had a Zoom meeting with him.
And I've had conversations with the Honorable Dr. Reverend Matthias.
Yeah,
that's what he calls himself.
That's correct.
So I want to respect what he says about himself.
Sure.
But I even early this morning before I went out to work, off to work, I told him, he said that he's not going to campaign negatively. That's the first thing that he said when we spoke with him as a PAC a month ago.
Right.
And so an African American male sends me this flyer that he's using with his picture.
Yes, I received the same one, and we received the door hanger. It's an actual door hanger that we received as we were leaving the event last night. We received a door hanger. He mentioned in the community forum that he has walked to 1,500 homes, and I think he told you he has a goal
of walking to 10,000.
To walk to 10,000. So and I do want to know, Honorable Reverend Doctor, I'm gonna just tell you the truth now, because we have a track team. What type of shoes are you wearing? Because you must have some, because you were walking just fine. And I'm not being funny. I'm actually being honest. I have invested in some shoes, and I want to know what kind of shoes you out there wearing where you can walk to 1,500 houses. But anyway, I digress.
So when I got the flyer, it's a picture of him with a nice suit. You know, like they say, he's all sharp.
Oh, he's polished.
And then you have Patrick Patterson with this hat on and these shades, and it's depicting him. Yes.
It was not just a hat and shades on, you guys. He had this baseball cap on in this photo. I don't even know where he got it from.
Well, he
Actually,
said he got it from the campaign.
The campaign.
He said he got it off of his page from the campaign, and I said
I went back and looked. I couldn't find it.
It's a negative, and then you have. He said, "Well, everything that's on there is factual." I don't vote in every election.
Yeah.
I don't even know some of these, and you know what, Candace? People.
Yeah.
Educate yourself on these propositions. Educate yourself on what's going on in your community.
Sure.
Get educated. Don't just go checking the box and even, you know, when you say that I'm a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, or whatever, if you check all Democrat, when you get in that voter booth, you make sure that you go back and look to see everything and everyone you voted for is correct. But when you vote all Democrat straight ticket or Republican, whatever you're going to do, you got to still go down and check the school board.
The school board is at the bottom of the ballot. It is the last one. It is a nonpartisan.
So let me get back to this.
Right. And there's a comment on here I want to read. And Trustee Cortez, I know you're not acting in your official capacity, but Ana Cortez has joined the live. Thank you, Ms. Cortez, for your leadership and commitment in our community. Her comment.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
But I gotta thank her. You said leadership and what?
And commitment to our community.
You got courage, young lady.
Yeah, it's great. I talked to her about that actually too.
Not everybody asked her.
Yeah, we have not had this conversation, and I told her earlier. Courage.
I cannot understand why people are afraid.
Yeah.
I cannot understand that. I've never been afraid of anyone.
I don't know if that woman is even 5 feet tall.
Dogs or raccoons. I'm afraid of a dog or raccoon.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff I was scared. I don't know. Me is be flying roaches and stuff and rats.
No, I'm not.
But
I'm afraid of rats.
The lady, I don't even know if she stands 5 feet tall with heels on. But I've seen her stand even when she's standing alone. And the one thing about it is, again, I go back to, we don't always have to agree on everything, right? But one thing is she stands even, she does the right thing for the right reason, even when no one is paying attention.
That's integrity.
And she stands for what she believes in. And that I have the absolute respect for her. I really do.
And so...
But she says here, and Austin ISD trustees are endorsing Patrick Patterson. I wonder why.
Yeah, they are. Well, you just got a message today on Facebook from Miss Cheryl Bradley.
Yes,
that
I
was
did.
once a trustee.
All trustees that have, most of the trustees, I won't say all, but the majority of the trustees that are former and in office now have all endorsed Patrick Patterson. Miss Nancy, I do see your comments. It says, how can I contact either of you to interview you both for my community page, Maynard Insider? Ma'am, we will be contacting you. Okay, thank you so much. I hope that Maynard Insider can even do a community forum. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I would love for us to be able to partner and just see, but yes, ma'am, we absolutely would love to provide an interview with you. Let me read some more of these comments.
But Candace, no one can say that these things did not happen.
Oh, they're documented.
Because they're documented.
Yeah.
And I know that
go on YouTube.
You know that there will be videos coming out about Sam talking about his
There may be.
fellow trustees,
I don't know.
I'm sure. And even
They're already out there,
when
so
we
they're all
vetted
Maynard people.
The Honorable Dr. Reverend Matthias, we looked at all the things that he did when he was at Austin ISD, and he talks about that on his check card.
Yes.
That he used to be on the board for 8 years. But when the first thing that when we Googled his name,
Yes.
it came up that the Urban League and other
Yes.
community groups
Yes.
had asked for AISD to.
It was I have it here. The Austin Area Urban League and the East Austin Coalition for Quality Education have sent a letter to the Austin Independent School District Board of Trustees asking them to censor District 2 trustee Dr. Jamie Matthias for inappropriate remarks directed to an AISD staff member in a public board meeting. The sexist and racist attack by Dr. Matthias on AISD Chief Equity Officer Dr. Stephanie Howley was totally unprofessional and unfitting an elected public official, said Quincy Dunlap, President and CEO of the Austin Area Urban League. In 2018, this board attempted to censor District 1 trustee Dr. Ted Gordon for exercising his First Amendment rights and criticizing board behavior in a non-AISD setting. For the board to do any less in this instance of a trustee verbally attacking a staff member at a public board meeting would be unconscionable, said Roxanne Evans of the East Austin Coalition for Quality Education. Matthias, whose district includes Dove Springs, listen to this district. And if you're from Austin, you know where I'm going. Dove Springs, East Austin, and Travis Heights, says Dunlap, touts his commitment to East Austin and people of color, but he uses his privilege on the dais to attack an employee, an African-American woman who is trying to do the job she was hired to do, advance the issue of equity within a historically inequitable institution. You guys, it goes on and on and on. That was a press release that was sent, and there was a letter attached to the Board of Trustees. This occurred around 2020. In addition to that, there's here, I have multiple things here. Austin, let's see here, November 21st of 2019, this individual read, please read. Of course, we all know that the AISD school closures and destruction of the East Austin community was never really about the children or their future. Sadly, the mother who said that AISD had totally disregarded the human factor resulting from their actions was right. Shame on you, AISD. Things like this happen to us when we fail to vote. We elected officials who do not serve or represent our values or our needs. Doing what is right matters. This person goes on and on and on, and she says, please continue to remember the names of these 6 school board trustees who voted against the values and interests of East Austin's black and brown community. And here, highlighted very big, is Jamie Matthias. In addition to that, you guys, I have new conflicts of interest that he had while he was at Austin ISD. You guys, this is all public information. And so when we talk about our vetting process, we began to vet the Honorable Reverend Dr. Jamie Mathias back in June, July, or whenever it was that he put his hat in. I'm going to tell you another thing, and this gets me it really triggers me because it reminds me of behavior.
Don't get triggered while I'm sitting here.
Look, I'm going to have to use some of my husband's alarms and whistles.
No, I'm going to drink you a little Big Red.
Drink it. Here's the thing, you guys. I've seen this behavior before in Manor ISD.
Yes.
And I get triggered because one of the incidents not only talks about the disrespect of a chief
Yes.
at Austin ISD, but also one of the engagements, and again, during the summertime, there was an individual that had put his hat in to run.
Yes, he did.
This was an individual in our community, and I'm not going to say his name, but he has a family. And I had actually researched this man, and he appeared to be truly amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And you even reached out and spoke to this gentleman.
4 times. Still talk to him.
Still talk to him to this day. And if you're out there and you're listening, I'm not going to share your
And
name.
he's one of the leaders in the pack.
But
so he's joined the pack and he's a leader, yes.
And I'm not going to mention his name because I hadn't had the conversation with him previously, and he may not even know this. But I heard a voicemail message that Dr. Mathias left for one of our trustees. And I took that voicemail message to be extremely intimidating, bullying. I felt that the voicemail message that I heard and several other people in the community heard was even threatening in a way to where he was going to attack an individual personally. Mm-hmm. This is a father, a husband, an individual in our community that wanted to run for office to serve his community, who's doing some amazing, great things in the community. And the voicemail that I heard said that they were planning on releasing damaging information on this individual. And when I heard that, these are the tactics.
But it was something that happened 22 years ago.
It doesn't even matter about what it was.
Yeah.
When you look up Janie Guerrero, Sam Samaripa, and the Honorable Reverend Dr. Mathias, there's a saying, birds of a feather flock together. And, you know, if it looks like a duck, talks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it is a duck.
Now, and I noticed Jamie Mathias last night and this morning, early this morning, that several people have gone by this gentleman's house. Well, I don't even know what to call him.
Well, the Honorable Reverend.
No, I'm talking about somebody a couple of people that rolled by this house. Mm-hmm. The man that was going around calling people fake N-word.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
The Honorable Dr. Reverend's sign was in his yard.
Yeah.
And that was the only sign in this man's yard.
Sure.
Now, he has a picture of a little black boy on his campaign stuff. Mm-hmm. But why are you doing that? And you have this man that's running around that they had to put him in jail because he's down there at City Hall.
Using racial slurs. Again, this is documented. There's even a video.
Yeah,
and there was an arrest.
But there's also a picture of this sign.
Sure.
And I got about 6 of them that people been passing by that house.
Right.
People y'all don't have.
Sure.
But so when I informed him, he said, "Oh, we'll rectify that again." But you know what? Everybody can't ride in my car, and everybody can't even speak my name. And I have people in my family that I will say, "No, you can't come by because of your character." And because you don't know what this man has done, and you've given him a sign. And then you turn around and say, "Oh, I'll take it up. I'll take it up. Oh, that's been rectified." But the damage has already been done.
Right.
Because I've gotten 6 pictures from different people that have passed by that guy's house and seen this sign, and it's a green sign. You know, 6 people have sent me that picture. So you are allowing someone that has treated these people over here at City Hall so badly. And I'm talking about the
workers.
Honorable Dr. Reverend Matthias. You know, and I said to him this morning, who are you really? You know, I didn't say it in that way.
Well, and the thing about it is we were taught, you know, back during the days when we were truly grassroots and campaigning in the streets of Austin, you know, we were taught that when someone comes into your community brand new like that, and they are, you know, a threat to that community, as community members, it is our responsibility to organize to know that this will not be tolerated in our community. We will not tolerate people coming into our community disrespecting staff. We will not tolerate folks coming in our community disrespecting our leaders, elected officials, children. That cannot be tolerated. And, you know, again,
just last night, Anna Cortez asked him, do not call my name.
Right. And she has a comment on here tonight about that.
And the Honorable Dr. Reverend Matthias kept calling her name. And I said, that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
If you come and tell me, don't do that, I'm going to stop it. I you know what? I can hear good. Most of the time, I do hear good. But if you say that, don't do that, then and he said, well, I did apologize. But when someone says, that is a sense of entitlement that's disturbing to me, I got a problem with that.
Right.
Because that's almost like you coming in my house and saying, don't drink Big Reds anymore. You got to drink Cokes.
Sure.
You know, so again, the disrespect that you want to be a leader, you want to be a trustee.
You're new to the area.
You new to the area.
And less than 3 years
I said,
here.
did you do research on those people that you're running on the
Well,
same
he
ticket?
is those people. That's the problem.
He said that the people say they love Sam, that he's this. I said, I've never heard anyone say that about Sam. Never. You know, and again, these are people that are all different. They're different diversity. They're of different ethnicities.
Right.
You know.
So
it's sad
why
to
are we
me.
having this conversation? The reason that we're having the conversation is that we vetted these individuals. We did our homework. We utilized our personal experiences and observations. We spoke to multiple people in the community, and we went with the 3 individuals that we felt was the right people at the right time for our school district.
To carry this school district forward.
Then let's talk about
Are they political people?
No.
No. You know, he has the first thing on there that Patrick hadn't voted this or that or whatever. Well, that's his voice.
Yeah.
If I want to vote for Timbuktu,
Right.
that's my voice to do so.
Right.
So how dare you say that this person didn't vote for this or that? I mean, I don't. To me, I don't get that.
Well, I do.
So wait a minute. So what is that saying? Because I don't vote in every single election, that I'm not a person of integrity, that I'm not a person of love, compassionate, I'm not honest, I'm not kind, I'm not respectful.
Because that's not the values. His value is based on the books that he's written, because he talks about that all the time.
Yes.
And his value is based on the fact that he served 8 years as a trustee. And so that's his value, where it lies. What he doesn't talk about is what he did during that time frame. And so therefore he has to use an accomplished person, one who has proven success, one who's doing extremely well from a grassroots
45
perspective.
years, Anna said that,
45 years
in
experience and education, an individual who can relate to the community, who has turned schools around, who is honestly just an incredibly gifted person in terms of being able to go in. He's the person that hired Dr. Robert Samani. Okay,
So let's talk about that for just a minute. You know,
Sure.
I'm old and I gotta.
when I say that he hired, let me clear that up. When Patrick Patterson was the principal at Dobie Middle School, he was the person that actually hired Dr. Robert Samani right out of college and brought him into his first career in education.
Right.
So let me clear that up, just so that everybody
So I want to
understands.
talk about this. The other word that I have written down here is stability. Manor has lacked stability under the same people that are trying to run for election now. Sam and Jamie.
Correct.
Those two people, Sam and Jamie.
Well, they're attempting a board takeover. Let me tell you guys, the way this board works, you have to have 4
Can I
votes to
say
move
this?
anything. But let me just real quick, you have to have 4 votes to move anything. So if 3 people get in, and then you have 1 more, which they do, those 4 individuals are now, they have all the votes to do everything that they need to do. So I just want to mention that. Now you're
So
talking stability.
So
Right.
we've had all these superintendents, and I did a little bit of research and had all the names, and you know,
I have them right here.
It's,
Yes.
it's recorded. Anytime that you go before a school board, that's recorded. So whatever you say, it is recorded. It's recorded. We lack stability with superintendents here in Manor. Superintendents leave Manor because of the board. The board of trustees, they have 1 employee, and that's the superintendent. 1. And that's the superintendent. Superintendents have called us and said, I left because of the board. I left because of the way that they communicated, disrespected me, and you know, all of these things. Again, when people find that we're people that want to advocate for people and that, you know, we support people, they call us, they're in our direct message, DMs or whatever you call it, and they're telling us that we need help. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm a little bit old. And I remember the song that James Brown, every Saturday my mother used to play that music, and you know you better get up and clean up when those good old blues come on. And James Brown had a song that said, you don't need to get nothing from me. Open up the door and I'll get it for myself. And that's the way that I feel. That I'm going to get anything and everything that I need for myself. But I'm also going to try to bring people with me that are afraid and don't know how to advocate for themselves, right? That's important. So I'm just saying that I believe, going back to this Texas Coalition for Change, that this is the machine that's going to help us to get to where we're not going to win all of them.
No, absolutely not.
But you know what? If any of the folks that I'm not supporting, if they get up on that board, I'm going to still hold them accountable.
Oh, absolutely. That's the part of the job. You know,
But why allow them to get up there and you've already seen what they've done in the past? You know, all you got to do is Google and read and, you know, yeah. And so my thing is, we got this Proposition 8 that's on the ballot now, right?
Right.
And so we're wanting teachers to get paid more money. That's what Patrick Patterson is talking about.
Correct.
Teachers first. You know what? I go to work every day with a smile on my face. On Mondays, I even get the group together and we do a little dance, right? Because I love my job. I love the people that I work with. I'm very respectful of them and they're respectful to me, right? So when you got that high morale, you want to get in there, you want to get things done, and you just, you know, you're just like, hey, I'm going to do this. So I'm just saying that we got to get our Manor people. I owe that to the teachers here. These teachers aren't making any money. They don't make enough to pay the things that they have to pay. Principals either.
Principals, teachers, they should all be making over 6. They should be making over 6 figures.
They teach
Period.
the people that make 6 and 7
That is
figures.
how much they should be
Yes.
making. And I have
The
been in
coaches are
rooms.
teaching people.
I have
These
been in
coaches
rooms.
in Manor are they got to drive a bus.
I have been
ain't
in
never heard
rooms
of a coach how to drive
with
a bus.
a member that a trustee that is right now running for office, and she has said, okay, not no one we're endorsing, but she has said while she was a trustee that she did not support any members of cabinet who is your top official top leaders in a district to getting a raise. I've been in a room and I've heard her say that. She said, I can support this group getting a raise, but I will not support this group getting a raise. In my opinion, if you are an educator in the state of Texas, you should be making six figures. They have the teacher incentive allotment program. There is no reason why our teachers shouldn't be making that. Lakeisha mentioned here, she says it's a movement. And she said, and it's going to take all of us.
Everybody.
These things did not happen overnight, and so change will not occur overnight. We know that we're in it for the long haul. We just publicly launched in August, didn't we? We just publicly, so we're just new. We're new. We're just getting started. And so I'm glad that Lakeisha said that, because you know what? It's going to take, please, like our page, follow it.
What page?
We have the Facebook page that you're on right now, Texas Coalition for Change. Y'all should see it. If you're watching this, you're on our page. So go like our page, follow our page, and here's what I will tell you. We have Sunday Fun Day. That's going to be our signature event. It's actually going to kick off early voting. Sunday Fun Day, write it down right now. It is going to be October 20th, and that's going to be at Timmerman Park from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we want everyone in the community there. We're going to open it up for vendors. We're going to open it up for vendors. We want the vendors to come for free. You know, now it won't always be this way, okay? Because at some point we got to start collecting some funds. But we want the vendors to come for free. We will have food and for families. We will have entertainment. We're working with several vendors in the community already to try to make sure that we have enough food for everyone. So make sure you also go to our events on Facebook and make sure you RSVP so we know about how many people are coming.
Shout out to Fred Nunn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fred, shout out.
I want to send a shout out not only to Fred Nunn, but Brighter Beginnings, Tamisa Henderson and her team. Tamisa Henderson Chester, actually, and her team, all of those individuals who have allowed us gave us permission to put signs in their businesses. Thank you so much, you guys. We have more signs coming. I know that Lakeisha, she has been working very hard, her and her husband, to make sure we get our PAC signs, and so they're coming. If you're interested in having a PAC sign or some of our candidate sign, please let us know. Contact us in the DM, and so we can make sure we get a sign out for you guys.
You know, and so again, Candace, I just want to go back to the integrity part. A person that has integrity, sometimes I have laid awake at night and said, you know what, I made a bad decision. And I got to go back and tell this person I'm sorry. It's something about me and the Lord. He wakes me up at 3 a.m. Somebody told me that's the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost that's having that conversation with you 3 a.m. in the morning. And when he wakes me up, I got to go back to that person and say, you know what, I'm sorry, or let's talk, or let me take you out to lunch, this or that, or whatever. I am never too big to say that I'm sorry, or that I made a mistake, or I make mistakes every single day, right? But these people, Janie and Sam. I saw Sam not too long ago, and after he called my president of the NAACP a chihuahua, he came up and shook my hand. You know what? I kind of blacked out a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because I think you shook the same back. So
well, I blacked out, and the reason why is because all the things that you've done, and you think it's okay.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's normal behavior, and I'm not advocating that you shouldn't have shook his hand. I mean, to be honest with you, we're not terrible people, so to shake a hand is, it is what it is. But I think that the behavior is so normal. It's been normalized, and I don't think that people have called it out, let's just be honest, but I think that he believes that he can come back and all will be forgiven. And I think that when there's some things that you can do that's a mistake, but there are other things that's just unforgivable. And when you are sitting in a leadership role over a school district, and you disregard and disrespect those leaders, those other elected officials, and leaders in those positions, that is unforgivable. Now, that doesn't mean that as a human being, I can't still love you, but I'm gonna love you from way, way over there.
I love you.
Yeah.
There's no one that I dislike.
Yeah,
I
well,
love everybody, but I don't like their ways.
There you go.
And you know, they say, did I offend you? No, you didn't
Sure.
offend me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like what you said. I don't like what you did. And I'm going to call it out.
Sure.
And I'm never ever one that goes behind the back and have a conversation. You know, Candace, I was the vice president of the NAACP for about 10 years. But my parents, my mom and dad, both were ill. And I almost lost my mind trying to do all this community stuff and support the family and my mom and dad. So I had to look at the things that I had to step down from, right?
Sure. Prioritize.
And that was one
correct.
of the things I loved working for Nelson Linder and, you know, just making things happen, representing people that had been falsely terminated and all of these things. Every single year, the NAACP makes you go through a training. And some of these people that trained us was Sylvester Turner, that was the mayor of Houston, right?
Right.
Royce West, senator in Dallas. So, you know, we had some pretty hard hitters that come in and train us. And they always talked about integrity. They always spoke about making sure that you're doing the right thing for the right reason and you're going to get the right results. Bishop Lands, you know, talks about that.
Right.
And I mean, every time you talk to him, he's having that, he's saying those comments. So my right reason is not for me, it's for everybody else. And sometimes you lose yourself with trying to support people that don't know how to support themselves. So Elmer Fisher was once on the school board, and I received some information about, you know, he did this, that, or whatever.
Yeah, it was a write-up in the paper.
Yeah, and you know what? But I know Elmer Fisher, and he's gonna hate me saying this, but you know, they attended my church.
Sure.
And I remember him. And I remember him as a little boy, man of integrity.
Right. Right.
And I went on Facebook that day and I said, Elmer, I love you and I support you.
Right.
Because no matter what anyone tells me about someone, unless I see it for myself,
Sure.
or unless you can prove it,
Right.
unless you can prove it.
Right.
Okay, let's move on to this.
Well, I want to say that since you brought that up, because you know, former trustee Fisher, who's also a part of our PAC, he is a person that's also been in this community for a very, very long time, doing some great things. But one thing he brings that up all the time, and he'll talk to you. He'll talk to you and he'll tell you exactly what happened. And as a matter of fact, he will be having opportunity. He shared his story and he's going to continue, but he tells you, because I went up and I said, yeah, we will be.
Yeah.
But I went up to him and I asked him, what happened? Tell me what happened. He's had that conversation several times. He's talked to you about it. And so things are not always as they seem, you know. And so when you're dealing with people who have their own personal agendas, when you're dealing with folks who do not have the right intentions for the children, things, again, they don't always seem the way that, and I, you know, even with Trustee Cortez, and I know she's on here again, not in her capacity, but, you know, she's on here, and I've even had a conversation with her because she's gone before the board.
I
and
gotta
spoke.
say something.
She went before the
if
board and
you got
spoke.
a title as being honorable,
Right.
you're gonna walk like you're honorable.
Right.
You're gonna talk like you're honorable.
Right.
You know, it's a leader
Sure.
is someone that knows how to follow. A leader is someone that knows how to be compassionate, passionate, have empathy for people. The way that Janie treated me, the way that she's treated you, the way that she's treated someone, she calls herself the Honorable Janie Guerrero. The Honorable. If you're going to be honorable, you know, they said that Jesus would take off people's shoes and wash their feet. It's not about.
I guess they giving that title to anybody.
I
can call myself queen.
The way that these people have carried on has just been so, it's disheartening and it's disturbing to me.
Right.
And it
Right.
makes me angry when someone tells me that someone did. The way that Sam got up at that board school that night and talked about the fellow, he talked about Anna Cortez.
He did.
He called out Monique
Yep.
Saladon.
Yep.
You know, and I don't know what it is about.
Well, no. I don't know if he necessarily called out Monique. Monique got up and walked out, but I'll have to go back and look at the footage. But he basically called out. I know he
I
called
want
out.
you to play that. I want you to find that footage, and I need you to play it for me.
It's on.
because I want to only speak, but the way that I blacked out. It's
Well, you don't think that that's going to be at a school board meeting with children and family and you guys, it was staff. I mean, the room was full of people. You had community members. And again, we were there to also celebrate, but also to recognize folks for Thanksgiving. And this is how he behaved.
And
It
didn't
was
have
absolutely
he wasn't
ridiculous.
ashamed.
This is normal. See, everybody was kind of shocked. But those of us who, I had
You
that
know?
experience during my time there.
But my thing is, I've called people out before. I have. I've gone to when we lived in Austin.
Yes,
I would go to the city council meetings
Oh,
and I would
yes.
call out people because I wanted better for my community.
Right.
I
right.
wanted, them
Right.
to. When we first moved into East Austin, we had to clean it up. The neighborhood association would walk at night. We would, talk to the people, the prostitutes that were on the streets. We talked to them. Do you need help? Do you need resources? Then we started bringing out people. So sooner or later, we started cleaning the streets. We
Sure.
had communication with people. I mean, that's what I'm used to.
Correct.
I'm used to these, and Avery, bless her heart, 5-year-old Avery, could see the people on grandbabies. She said, "Do you have any money to help them? That's that compassionate thing that a little innocent had a lady.
And can I real quick, even with the call out or if you disagree, what leaders do is leaders will come down and hey, let's talk about it. Let's talk it through. And that doesn't mean that leaders are perfect. You guys, but I have made multiple mistakes. Part of leadership is being able to make mistakes. So if you have made a mistake, as a leader, then what you would do is you have that conversation with the community. But I haven't never had any of these individuals, come to us and really kind of talk to us. That's the other part of it. Had never even had a conversation.
You act like that, and you're disrespectful, and all of these things, and then you turn around and act as though you haven't done anything.
Right.
And then you call yourself the honorable.
Yeah.
You say that you're this leader. That they say, well, I've been on the school board for 14 years. And I just think that sometimes people don't know any better. And sometimes people, they're fearful. People have told me, don't say anything about Sam Samparipa, because he'll send somebody to get you.
Oh, yeah, we had several calls.
Yeah. Be careful.
Yeah,
Make
and
sure
we've had
the windows are closed.
several calls of people who have said, like, be very careful, because if you ever speak out against these individuals, they told me they will retaliate. They said that they would get, quote unquote, the laws in your life.
They say they own the police.
They will end up. Terrible things could possibly happen, and I'm talking about more than one
If
individual.
you're being honest, you gotta speak out for something that you're for or against.
Right.
If you're being honest, I wanted to have this conversation with you tonight because I want the community to know that this Texas Coalition for Change
Right.
was created to help change what is going on that shouldn't be going on.
Right.
We're going to have to call some people out. We're going to have to run some people off.
Possibly.
What do I mean by run them off? I'm not threatening nobody.
No.
But I'm saying is if you're not doing the right thing for the community,
Right.
you got to go.
Right.
I say this, that I respect you to the highest because you said that I know for a fact that Dr. Caitlin Lowry and Stacy Howard
Sure.
has more educational
Experience.
than what I do.
Absolutely.
And you know what? It's no sense in me getting in the ring.
That's what I said. That's correct.
No sense in me getting in the ring.
And I was, and that Dr. Lowry, she contacted me hours before it was time for the deadline. You know, and I spoke with her on the phone and I said, go up there, make sure you do it. You know, I was supportive of her because again, as a leader, I know also when it's time for me to step aside. You know, because you know what your skill sets are and the experience that you have. And when they both stepped in and I had an opportunity to converse with them, we have true educators that have taken the brave decision to want to support this community in a different capacity. And I have taken some time off, you know, during the month of October to ensure that we're here to support those individuals. The Texas Coalition for Change we call ourselves the machine, but the machine is not a machine without the people. And so this is a grassroots movement. It's not just about this election. Once we are finished, this is a year-long process and it will go on, it will continue. This is an organization. And so I say that because we're about to get ready to shut the live down, but I want everyone here to know that this organization, we are not going anywhere. Once this election is over, we still have other issues that we need to address. We still have those individuals that we put in office. We can't put them in office and just leave them there. We have to go and see what it is that they need. We have to go and communicate with them, let them know here are the issues that we're hearing. We have parents out there that I get calls 11, 12 o'clock at night that have issues in the schools. Our administrators needs help. You know, and so we as a community have got to come together. We have issues going on. I know at the city level, we have some concerns about, you know, just all sorts of different concerns.
I live in the city of Manor and can't even vote for the mayor.
Right.
Because I live where it hadn't been annexed in. And I've been asking questions for 4 years. What is this thing about being annexed in? Right. So if I call 911, the sheriff is going to come.
Right, because you're at ETJ, so Travis County.
In Travis County, right. But I believe that the pie, if it's cut right, everybody can get their part.
Right.
But, I mean, you know, when you look at the roads out here in Manor, we're not getting our parts. When you look at the streets, when you look at all these businesses are coming in, who is advocating for the residents of Manor to get jobs in these businesses? When you're looking at the growth, when you're looking at, you know what, one time I counted between my house and maybe 2 miles down the road, there's 6 liquor stores.
Yeah. Yep.
What is this here? About this hooker
The vaping and all those smoke shops.
Vape, you know, I remember when we lived in East Austin and the things that, you know, that were just the kids were getting a hold of, like they were going in a little corner store.
Sure.
We went up to that corner store, remember? We went up there 10 strong, Hollywood.
Right.
Thomas Henderson lived there. Hollywood Henderson. And guess what? We told that owner of that store to take all that negative stuff out of his store. But we would come back every day and we would picket that store and make sure that nobody went into that store. Right. That's the type of action that I'm used to.
Right.
I'm used to making change. You know, the lady said that my son had gone into the store and took something, came home all high or something. I don't know, some kind of little funny cigarettes. But we made him take those cigarettes because he was harming the community.
Absolutely.
So,
and when you have them on every block and right near schools, then that's now, you know, again, as an adult, you do what you have to do.
Correct.
But when there's one literally on every single corner and you have children in schools that are nearby,
yes.
It's like, what is that saying about the community? But look around us. Look around Austin. Look at Pflugerville and Round Rock, and those of you who've been here, and Buda and Liberty Hill and Cedar Park and Leander. Look at how these communities are like thriving right now.
God.
And they used to look the exact same way as Manor. And, you know, when you even look at traffic, we ain't even talked about that. Traffic is terrible.
If I don't leave out of my house before 7:30
Yeah.
a.m., I might as well just.
What is that? 973, and I mean,
suicide trap.
It is absolutely terrible. Look at
Yeah.
all the collisions that are happening in the city. You guys, that is the reason why we created Texas Coalition for Change.
Yes.
We cannot do it all by ourselves. We need help. We need assistance. We're starting with the school board election, but we will continue on to fight the good fight. This is a grassroots movement. We need all of you.
You
So
have a man that has gone into City Hall calling people the fake N-word.
Right.
Now, I commented on that because
Right.
he said he had a lot of African-American friends.
Sure.
Robert Patea. I told him that I don't care how many African-American friends you have. You are being disrespectful using that word. And I said, do you know the harm that people that look like you
Right.
have caused people that look like me? He said he never owned a slave. But you got slave man mentality to think that you can call somebody out of their name.
Yeah.
But wait a minute. What makes you think that you can call somebody out of their name because they're not doing what you want them to do?
Right.
Go through the legal process.
Right.
Like they say, the process works
Sure.
if you work it. You know, we
And
got
it's
a story to tell, Candace, that Maynard knows nothing about.
Right.
And we're going to do that at another date.
Right.
But what I am saying to you is, Maynard can be made the best city in the state of Texas.
Absolutely.
They've done it in Leander,
Right.
Georgetown. They said,
Georgetown. Mhm.
And guess what? They said that there are people in Georgetown that they don't want Georgetown to grow. They want to keep it small. You know, some of these people, developers come in, they give you a steak.
Right.
And you eat that steak and you say, you know what? I'm gonna make sure these developers get everything they want. But what about the community? I worked at a school, and there was an Anglo teacher, first year teacher. She told another Anglo teacher, all you gotta do is give these kids a half a Skittle. You know, Skittle is like an M&M. Some people don't know what Skittles are. She said, give them a half a Skittle, and you can make them jump through hoops like monkeys. But she didn't know that the Anglo teacher was married to an African American male, and came back and shared what she said about the African American children
Right.
at that school.
Sure.
So I don't want anybody to think that they can come here and give me a half a Skittle and I'm going to be okay.
Right.
And I'm talking about a half a Skittle that they're not repairing my roads,
Right.
right?
Right.
A half a Skittle that they can go to the city hall and call people the N-word. A half a Skittle that they can get on the school board and call the president of the NAACP a chihuahua. A half a Skittle that they can get up there on that school board and talk about the other fellow school board trustees.
Right.
A half a Skittle when they can look you in your face and try to bully you.
Right.
A half a Skittle when they just do whatever they want to do. That's a
Right.
half a Skittle.
And the reason that the school board is so important is because it drives all of the infrastructure. No one wants to come to a community where the school ratings are terrible. No one wants to move their children into the 4,000 kids that should be in Manor schools, but they choose to go to other schools, are doing that because of the drama, because of the ratings of some of the schools. And that's not the school's fault. It is the support. It is the system. It is the lack of leadership at the top that has the vision. You know, we talked about the superintendents and how we've had over 14 superintendents in such a small time frame. How in the world can we move a school district forward when school elected officials cannot even keep the one person that they are responsible for in the position, you talked about stability, but in the position, there is no way that we can grow like that.
And I'm not a newcomer to this. You know, we talked about that when Dr. Spencer was here. I heard about all the things that the kids were doing at Maynard High School.
Right,
you know,
right,
there was
right.
fights every day.
Right.
That, you know, and a shout out to Miss Brandy Powell. She's
Yeah.
a stand-up principal. You know, but Dr. Spencer said, "Well, Miss Wade, we just don't have enough parental involvement." Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, we're there, we're educating the kids. Miss Powell is doing a great job, and she says, "That's my baby. I love that baby."
Right.
So we met with them, and I said, "Well, what do you need?"
Yeah.
They said, "We need support." And I said, "You know what? These kids don't know me from Adam. They gonna look at me, and if they cussing, they gonna keep on cussing.
Right.
But I know some folks that they do know."
Sure.
We sent 18 men in that school.
Right.
Those 18 men were coaches, they were dads, they were community leaders. They knew these kids.
Right.
And when those men were in the school, riding on the little golf cart and chasing them class and this and that, all of those things went away. The behaviors or whatever. You know, and they were in the schools for a couple of months. And they were dads that said, "We're in these schools, we're wanting to, you know, volunteer, and we're wanting to help Miss Powell out."
They walk the halls.
They walk the halls.
And they
see
have the
kids.
relationship with the kids. But
Yeah.
you know, that's the community in the school.
It's
Like
a
that's
community in the
that
school.
village approach.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I don't see. And it's really
Yeah. And
just
they would report
sad.
back to me on a daily basis and said, "We broke up 2 fights." Mm-hmm. Well, first they would say, "Oh, we broke up 15 fights."
Right,
And
right.
then it got to the point to where they were breaking up maybe 1 fight a week.
Right, right.
So again, I think that that's not saying that I'm gonna give you half a Skittle. Mm-hmm. That's saying I'm giving you my heart.
Right.
I'm dedicating my time.
Right.
And my efforts to you. You know.
Absolutely.
So again, everybody can't do what I do. Everybody can't do what you do. Everybody
Right.
can't do what Lakeisha does.
Right.
Everybody can't do what Marlon Elmer does, right?
Absolutely.
But you can do something.
Sure.
You know, there's not been a time that I've gone to Elmer Fisher and said, "This person needs something. Okay, how much do I need to give?" Mm-hmm. He doesn't ever say, "I don't have it." Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, where is you know, so again, the people, the founders of the coalition, founded the coalition because we are people that do not want to continue on taking a half a Skittle. And I know y'all tired of me talking about that Skittle,
Right.
but I'm going to talk about that Skittle
Right.
because this is what the lady, she lived in West Austin. Mm-hmm. She said she had never taught African American children before. And she was told by some of her friends that you don't have to give them everything. You just give them a half a Skittle. So if the people of Maynard is tired of taking a half a Skittle, then you got to support and vote in the people that can come in and turn this school around
Absolutely.
and get stability
Absolutely.
and to make sure that we're getting individuals that have courage.
Absolutely. The experience that have been in the trenches. And so again, the Texas Coalition for Change, we endorse Patrick Patterson for place 5. We endorse Dr. Caitlin Lowry for place 6. And we endorse Stacey Howard for place 7. If you are interested in having a sign put in your yard, again, please contact us. We have plenty of signs. We will be block walking in
We don't have
multiple.
plenty. We don't have plenty.
Well,
Because we've given out over
we-
200.
we have given out a lot,
Well
but we
over
have
200,
more
yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
And if you are a business and you would like one of our large signs, let us know. We have some large signs that we will be putting out. We are block walking. We need poll watchers. We need transportation. We've gotten several calls about individuals that need a ride to the polls. In addition to that, we need folks that can make phone calls. But the main thing is just having conversations and being neighbors and talking uninformed voter. We do not want an uninformed voter. We need change. Our children need us. They are not at the age of they can vote right now, but we do need change. We need these individuals represent fresh, new faces. They all three bring different skill sets to the table that is definitely needed in this time. And so I was very happy that the Maynard Chamber hosted the community forum on last night. Please go to our page. If you get an opportunity. There was one individual that did not show up, but most of the candidates were there. Please go and listen to that. Listen to the live. Make your own informed decisions. I know that there's a lot of information that's going to be put out within the next several weeks. Do your research. Talk to the candidates.
And mainly, if you're not voting in this election, you are too heavy, and we can no longer carry you. I don't want to carry any heavy people.
Right.
You see, so do your
research.
Do your vetting.
Right.
Look at the candidates that we're supporting. We're not supporting these candidates because they are our friends or because, for whatever reason. We're supporting them because it's the right thing to do. We're going to get the right results, and they're the right people. Our children will be successful with getting these candidates in office. And
Absolutely.
it's crucial that we start at the top. The top is, and the school board trustees, that's as far as you can go besides TEA and TASB and, some of these. So as a local community, you want a school board. And you know what? There's drama at a lot of these school boards. Round Rock had drama, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But their political action committee, they're PAC. Same thing that we are. They're the ones that got out and got some of those people out of office. And so, again, we're not running anyone's campaign. We are supporting the right candidates. We're going to advocate for these people. And we are going to do everything that we can to make sure that you're voting for the right people and that you're not continuing to take a half a skittle to get what these people want to give to you. All of this stuff that we've talked about tonight is documented.
Right.
And people reach out to us all the time. It's Sam talking about Anna and the other. It's recorded. Mm-hmm. Right?
November 2022.
So again, I just think.
Right on YouTube.
Yeah, and who would want to support someone that has been mean, disrespectful, and you know what?
Call it they're being ethical and they're calling people out and they're holding people accountable. You can do that in a way that is not disrespectful. You can do that in a way that is not demean. You can do that in a way in private conversations behind closed doors. It's not public for all the world to see. You can have a civil conversation with somebody.
I'm gonna tell you can, but
yes.
Now I am gonna call someone out that is being disrespectful.
Sure.
Last night, the Honorable Dr. Reverend Matthias again kept calling
in a public setting. Right.
But he kept calling Anna's name. And she said, please don't call my name.
Sure.
And he continued to call. And I said, you're being disrespectful.
Yes.
And I called him out, right?
Yes. Right.
Because I believe that when someone tells you not to do something, don't. Mm-hmm. That, you know what, Candace, that is just very, I don't even know. I don't even have words.
I think that at the end of the day, we're at a point in our community where we need change. We are growing and we're growing very fast. And again, the Texas Coalition for Change, I'm going to talk about our event, and then after that we're going to shut down for the evening. But we have a Sunday Fun Day for October 20th. It will be from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Timmerman Park. We invite the entire community to come out. If you are a vendor and you would like to have a booth, please let us know. We're offering the vendor booths free of charge. And you got to bring everything, but it is absolutely free of charge. We want it to be a day where you can meet the candidates that we endorse, but we're inviting all to come out. That is our kickoff for early voting. We're truly excited about it. We'll have moonwalks and all sorts of entertainment and fun for families. So,
And I want to do a shout out for Pastor Deshard Freeman and also Pastor Sneed.
yes.
They had a festival on last Sunday that we attended, and it was amazing. They had a domino tournament,
Absolutely. Yes, very
spades
nice.
tournament. They had the cakewalk. Lots of folks were there, and lots of people asked lots of questions, right?
Right.
And they were asking about what does a school board trustee, what do they do? So I do know, and you know what, Candace, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna never be ashamed to need an answer for. You feel as though that you shouldn't ask questions. They don't want you to speak up. They don't want you to advocate for yourself. Now, I'm going to call out Brandon Cooper, my son-in-law. He's an agitator.
Yes.
Someone said the last week, they said, you know what? He reminds me of Dorothy Turner and Velma Roberts.
Oh, wow.
And I know we're going to shut down.
Yeah, we've
But
been trying to shut down for about 30 minutes.
Those two ladies made the police department change the policy and the way they do things. They agitated the police department every day for 9 months, along with President Nelson Linder.
Yeah.
They stood out there with a sign from 12 to 1 o'clock about the police department. And you know what? People would pass, they would blow their horn, this and that or whatever. But they got changed. They made change. And so they agitate. They didn't want to go on the inside and negotiate.
Sure.
When you have these agitators, the agitators are going to agitate. You may not like what he says and how he says it, but he is a agitator.
Right.
He's not trying to go in and negotiate.
Right.
So you got the agitate on the outside. Then you got your people that's going to go in and negotiate once the people say, you know what, I'm caving in and I'll just give you what you want if you be quiet.
Sure.
And that is who he is, and that is what he does. And so...
And I want to real quick just bring, since you brought him up, I want to make it very clear, and I'm looking in the camera so that everybody can see me and hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. Brandon Cooper is not a part of the Texas Coalition for Change. When Brandon Cooper is speaking, he is not speaking on behalf of the Texas Coalition for Change. He is also not speaking on behalf of any of the candidates. Brandon Cooper chooses not to be a part or associated even with some of the organizations that I'm associated with.
Last name.
Didn't even know, was calling the man Patrick Peterson.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. And, the reason why he says it is because he says, I have my way of doing things. And I do not want my way of doing things to interfere. I don't want it to jeopardize what you all are doing and your method. And the thing about it is although I don't always agree and,
But
on my husband's method, I respect it. And I respect the passion. I respect the passion that he has for the community, and it comes from his heart. You guys, if you go down his page, you see that man, he is about kids. He's been about kids for the 20 years that I've known him. He's moved children in our home, Lord have mercy. That I didn't even know how we were gonna feed them.
Well,
one time we had 4 boys standing. That's the heart that he has. So everything that he's doing, he is speaking of himself, and he is doing what he believes is right to bring about change in our community. And I know that a lot of you will watch his lives all the time, but I want you to understand that that's who he is. But he does not, because I've heard stuff in the community already. Oh, do you want to be a part of Texas Coalition for Change? And they have, this person who's speaking like this is an individual who is about children, but he does not. Again, he does not speak on behalf of the PAC and this organization.
Comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
What does that mean? That means that sometimes when you're uncomfortable, why does this bother me? So you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You gotta be comfortable with being
He
uncomfortable.
he called us out last night. You know, he did after we had an opportunity to watch the VP debate. You know, he had a serious conversation with my mom and I, and he said, "I want to know," because he wanted to know about. You know, we talked about effective ways of campaigning and understanding the methods that we use,
Yeah.
and so that's just who he is. And you know, and the thing about him, I applaud everyone who is out speaking for the right reason. But what we cannot tolerate in our community is the level of disrespect and folks demeaning individuals that have been out for years bullying, and they're in an elected
I don't
capacity.
understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
And the
why.
theft, we didn't even talk about that, but
Yeah.
the alleged theft. You
Yeah.
know, some of the theft has even been documented, you know, and so there's alleged theft that's occurring. It's all sorts of things that have been happening. And again, this is not the purpose of today's show, is to call out all of that, but we are talking about our vetting
A lot
process.
of people wanted
and-
to know who we are.
Right.
Why did we?
Campaign, and we're trying to. There's some of the rumors, you know, and misinformation is already out there. The other thing
and
that
it's
we
the fear factor.
right,
If I can
something new,
right? If I can, then you know you're not gonna do. You're gonna do what I want you to do.
right.
You know, it's the fear factor. You know, like
Sure.
What's that man that they say the Halloween man,
Pennywise or whatever.
Pennywise?
I guess that's his
Avery
name.
was talking about Pennywise the other night.
From it.
That
yes.
is the. I've never seen no Pennywise.
Right.
But Pennywise may not never come to my house. Okay,
be
I'm
close
just
to that.
saying the fear factor that some people have. I
Yes.
don't understand it,
Yes.
Candace.
Well, I do. No, I can speak to that. I do, because you know I you know, due to a constructive discharge and you know everything that happened in my story with Maynard, that was a job that I loved. And people said, with your husband speaking out, with you guys throwing this track meet, this is what could potentially happen to you, and it happened. But all that retaliation, and so you're leaving a position that you love. You're leaving a position that you were passionate about. So that's the fear. That's the fear that if you speak out, there are some people who say, you know, I watched your husband's live, and you know, but I had to wait until after he finished because I didn't want people to see that I had joined. You know, I wanted to comment on what he was talking about, but I can't, because if I comment, there were times when you came in the building. When I worked at Maynard ISD, when you would come in the building and I would hear that you asked me, and I'm like, she's a community member, and have a courage. All that I'm saying is that I understand that fear. I understand individuals who have a livelihood. Now, thank goodness my husband, you know, so we're in a different space. But I did not want to leave a job that I absolutely love, but based on went down with our track club hosting the track meet, and then you know, it was retaliation. And so and everything that everybody was telling me actually happened. And so, you know, if you want to stay working there, the best thing is to keep your mouth closed. You know, and that is unfortunate that we are in that type of community where people do not. They don't, because again, I'm in communications, and part of communication is being able to conflict. Conflict is always going to arise in communication, and not being able to sit down and have a conversation. To this day, you know, Sam has asked for me and my husband's taxes to be released to the public, and he wanted to meet us to look at our taxes. I don't even know what that craziness was about. But he had never even had a conversation with us.
Yeah.
Zero conversation. But you accusing us of something? What do you want to see my? What's the purpose of that? And so it's things of that nature, and you go publicly and say that you want to review our taxes. So these are the types of things, and so I do understand the fear. I don't live in that space anymore, thankfully. You know, I don't live in that space, but I do understand individuals who are not afraid. The one man I tried to tell the people, cool, you know.
But again, Candace, all that I am saying is that, you know, so many of us say that we believe and we trust in God, and He's the head of my life and what have you. And I do know if you're doing the right thing, God is going to always protect you.
Absolutely.
Always. And so
Absolutely.
my thing is that
That's true.
I have just been one that believes in doing the right thing. And I don't allow people to lead me in a place or a space that I don't want to be in. And when I am uncomfortable, I ask myself, well, why am I uncomfortable?
Right.
Right. What is this feeling? And it is because sometimes you are going into a space that is not normal. And what do we want?
Right.
We want to be normal.
That's
we want
true.
consistency.
We want comfortable.
We want
want to be comfortable. Yes.
Every day when I come home, I back my car into the garage, right? Mm-hmm. A couple of times I've had visitors and I've had to drive it into the garage because, I don't back that well with the car in my driveway.
Sure.
So, and that's uncomfortable for me.
Absolutely.
But I know that I got to come on up out that garage to go to work or to go to the store or wherever. So sometimes I am a bit uncomfortable. But even though I'm uncomfortable, I'm able to still thrive and do the things that I need to do.
We attended a conference and it talked about, and that conference was right on time. It talked about seeds. One of the speakers spoke about seeds and how seeds are built in soil. And so that it's built in the darkness. Mm-hmm. And so before it can become whatever, God intended this seed to be, this beautiful tree, if you will, it has to be, it's in the dark, it's in the soil, and that's kind of, a space that when you talk about being comfortable and so forth. Now I know we getting all off topic, but that is what, in the journey of being fearful and we're trying to move into working your passion and all that kind of stuff, it does take a little long to be uncomfortable. So if I had to go through that experience that I went through, which I still haven't told that full story, but if I had to go through that experience in order to be able to create the Mainers' first political action committee called Texas Coalition for Change, if I had to go through that experience so that I could meet the amazing Lakeisha Small, if I had to go through that experience so that I can take the wisdom that I've learned from my mom, who we did some amazing things in Austin, to be able to bring this to this community in order to organize people around the issues that are happening here, then it was all very well worth it. It was all worth it. And what I know is that, we are working in our passion. I just talked about, I'm literally taking the entire month of October off because I am wanting to work solely in this campaign because it means that much to me. It means just that much to me in order for us to be able to make change in the district. And so I am thankful, I'm a Christian, and I'm thankful to God that I've been allowed the opportunity to be able to participate, to share this opportunity with not just my mom, but with Lakeisha and Elmer and Marlon and all of the other wonderful people who I've met already through this journey. Are you ready to close? Or do you have anything else? Anything else you want to say?
I got to go home and go to bed.
Okay, it is 8:56, which, is definitely way past your hours, and hopefully you'll be able to make it home.
I hope so, maybe.
Hopefully so. But you have been listening to a conversation amongst two of the co-founders for Texas Coalition for Change, also known as The Machine. Thank you for tuning in. Please share. Please follow our page. We hope to see you guys on the campaign trail. We will be out supporting our candidates in all sorts of different ways. Please tune in, like and follow our pages. Stay connected. You guys, change is on its way. I'm excited about it.
Can we play that song?